something strange is happening. Pope Francis has spoken about events that could shake the foundations of the world, and now, signs are appearing that seem to align with his words. Is his prophecy finally coming true? Are we witnessing something biblical unfold right before our eyes? In this video, we will dive deep into Pope Francis' most striking statements, analyze the events unfolding around us, and uncover what this could mean for the future of the Church, the world, and even your own life. If you've ever wondered whether we are standing at the edge of something monumental, you cannot afford to miss this. By watching until the end, you will gain powerful insights that could change how you see current world events and their spiritual significance. This is more than just information, it's a wake-up call. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear may change everything. Mysterious prophecy. There have been many speculations about Pope Francis' words and actions. Some believe he hinted at a great shift in the Catholic Church that is now unfolding before our eyes. Throughout his papacy, Pope Francis has made bold statements about the future of the Church, unity among religions, and even the role of tradition in modern faith. His openness to interfaith dialogue, his call for social and economic reforms, and his stance on controversial issues have led many to wonder, is he fulfilling a prophecy long hidden in the shadows of history? The end of an era? Some religious scholars claim that Pope Francis' leadership marks a turning point in the history of the Vatican. Could this be the moment foretold by past prophecies? Some point to the famous prophecy of the popes, attributed to Saint Malachi, which suggests that Francis could be the last pope before a great upheaval. Others see his reforms as an attempt to modernize the Church in a way that could either save it from decline or dismantle centuries-old traditions. His push for inclusivity, environmental responsibility, and structural changes within the Vatican has both inspired and unsettled believers worldwide. A church divided. One of the most striking aspects of Pope Francis' papacy is the division it has caused within the Catholic community. While many see him as a beacon of progress, others fear he is steering the Church away from its foundational teachings. His stance on issues like LGBTQ+ inclusion, climate change, and economic inequality has sparked heated debates among cardinals, bishops, and theologians. Some conservatives argue that he is deviating from doctrine, while others believe he is fulfilling a necessary evolution. Could this internal conflict be the great shaking that prophecy warns about? Signs and symbols. Throughout history, religious shifts have often been accompanied by signs, both celestial and earthly. In recent years, unusual events, from dramatic weather patterns to geopolitical instability, have led some to believe that we are witnessing the fulfillment of apocalyptic warnings. Pope Francis himself has spoken about the need for global unity, echoing themes found in biblical prophecies about a coming transformation. Is he preparing the world for a new era of faith, or are these warnings pointing to something more ominous? What lies ahead? Whether one sees Pope Francis as a reformer or a harbinger of prophecy, there is no denying that his leadership is shaping the future of the Catholic Church in unprecedented ways. As debates continue, one question remains. Will his legacy be remembered as the turning point that brought renewal, or the catalyst for a dramatic transformation that few saw coming? Only time will reveal whether this is truly the moment foretold in ancient prophecies or simply the natural evolution of an institution that has withstood centuries of change. His most controversial statements. Over the years, Pope Francis has made several statements that have sparked intense debates among both the faithful and skeptics. One of his most controversial remarks was his call for a greater focus on climate change and environmental responsibility. Unlike his predecessors, who primarily emphasized spiritual matters, Francis has consistently framed ecological issues as moral imperatives, even stating that the destruction of the environment is a sin against God's creation. This has led to both praise from environmental activists and criticism from traditionalists who believe the Church should not engage so deeply in global political matters. Another divisive topic has been his stance on social justice. Pope Francis has been a vocal advocate for economic equality, frequently condemning excessive capitalism and the exploitation of the poor. His statements on wealth distribution, including remarks that unfettered capitalism is a new tyranny, have unsettled conservative Catholics and politicians who see his views as too aligned with leftist ideologies. This has fueled debates about whether the Church should take a stronger stance on economic reform or remain a neutral spiritual institution. Perhaps the most shocking statements have been those regarding traditional Catholic teachings. Pope Francis has shown a more open stance toward groups historically marginalized by the Church, including the LGBTQ+ community and divorced individuals seeking communion. While some view this as a much-needed step toward inclusivity, others fear it signals a departure from long-standing doctrine. His remarks about the possibility of allowing priests to marry or reconsidering the role of women in the Church have further fueled concerns that he is pushing for a radical transformation of Catholicism. A church in crisis. These controversial statements come at a time when the Catholic Church is facing profound internal and external crises. The institution has been plagued by scandals, particularly involving allegations of abuse that have led to declining trust in the clergy. Many believers are disillusioned, leading to a significant drop in church attendance and religious vocations, especially in traditionally Catholic regions like Europe and Latin America. Some argue that Pope Francis' progressive approach is an attempt to restore faith in the Church, while others fear it could cause further divisions. Adding to the turmoil, the rise of secularism and the rapid shift in societal values have made it increasingly difficult for the Church to maintain its influence. Some wonder if these challenges are merely part of a natural transformation or if they point to something more apocalyptic. Prophecies about the end times have often warned of a great crisis within the Church, and for those who believe in such predictions, the current state of Catholicism is a troubling sign. Whether Pope Francis' leadership will mark a turning point for renewal or a deeper fracture in the Church remains a question that continues to stir intense debate. A hidden agenda? Many conspiracy theories claim that Pope Francis is leading the Catholic Church toward an unprecedented transformation. His positions on topics such as ecology, immigration, and the global economy have been seen by some as a departure from the Church's traditions. The central question is, are these changes a necessary evolution to adapt to modern times, or is there a hidden agenda behind his actions? Critics argue that some of his decisions, such as the push for greater synodality and openness to interreligious dialogue, may be weakening fundamental doctrinal pillars. At the same time, supporters of Francis claim that he is simply modernizing the Church to keep it relevant in a constantly changing world. However, this modernization has led some to wonder whether a larger plan is in motion, possibly aligned with globalist ideologies that could undermine the authority and identity of the Catholic Church. The last pope? One of the most debated theories about Pope Francis is related to the prophecy of the popes, attributed to Saint Malachi. This prophecy suggests that there would be a specific number of popes before a great event that would transform the Church. According to some interpretations, Francis could be the last pope before a period of extreme crisis, possibly linked to the end times or a major structural reform within the Church. This view is reinforced by recent events, such as the declining influence of the Church in the West, internal scandals, and significant changes within the Vatican itself. If the prophecy is true, it would mean that we are about to witness prophetic events of great impact. However, some argue that the prophecy has been misinterpreted or is merely a symbolic text with no direct connection to reality. Regardless of the validity of these predictions, Pope Francis' leadership remains a topic of intense debate. He represents a turning point in the history of the Church, and his papacy may be paving the way for changes that some see as necessary, while others view as signs of an uncertain and unsettling future. Signs in the world. Wars, natural disasters, and the moral collapse of society are events that many believe are directly linked to biblical prophecies about the end times. Throughout history, signs such as earthquakes, pandemics, and political crises have been seen as divine warnings, but their increasing intensity and frequency in recent times have alarmed scholars and believers alike. Jesus himself warned about these signs in Matthew 24, mentioning wars and rumors of wars, famines, and earthquakes in various places as precursors to the end of days. The decline in morality is also interpreted as a prophetic fulfillment. The Apostle Paul, in 2 Timothy 3, describes a time when people will be lovers of themselves, greedy, arrogant, and disobedient to their parents. Many see the growing rejection of Christian values, the normalization of sin, and the rise of ideologies contrary to faith as clear indications that prophetic events are drawing near. In this context, the role of the Vatican and Pope Francis is frequently examined through a prophetic lens. The Jesuit factor. The election of Pope Francis in 2013 marked a historic moment for the Catholic Church, as he became the first pontiff from the Jesuit order. This appointment sparked speculation among scholars and religious observers who view the Jesuits as an influential and, to some, mysterious group. The Jesuits are known for their emphasis on education, evangelization, and diplomacy, but also for their controversial role throughout church history. Some prophecies point to the rise of a religious leader who will bring radical changes to the church, preparing the way for eschatological events. With his pastoral style focused on inclusion and interfaith dialogue, Francis has introduced transformations that challenge long-established traditions. For many, these changes may be a sign that the church is moving toward a new paradigm, fulfilling prophecies of a different kind of church than the one of past centuries. Whether as a reformer or as an agent of a larger transformation, Pope Francis's impact inside and outside the church continues to spark debates about his true role in prophetic history. Could he be the leader who unites religions into a single global system? Or is he paving the way for a time of great apostasy, as warned by many biblical interpreters? Time will tell whether these signs indicate the fulfillment of ancient prophecies or simply a new era for the Catholic Church. Call for unity or a new order. Pope Francis has consistently advocated for global unity, urging nations and religions to come together for peace and cooperation. His messages emphasize dialogue, fraternity, and a shared responsibility for humanity's future. While many see this as a noble effort to promote harmony, others believe it aligns with biblical end-time prophecies concerning a one-world system. Could his vision of unity be paving the way for a new spiritual or political order? Throughout history, religious leaders have played significant roles in shaping global movements. Pope Francis' call for a more interconnected world echoes past efforts, but stands out for its emphasis on inclusivity and social justice. His support for economic, environmental, and interfaith initiatives has led some to wonder whether he is laying the groundwork for a transformative shift in global governance. Is this a genuine call for peace, or is there a deeper prophetic significance? What comes next? Whether one believes in biblical prophecy or not, it is undeniable that the Catholic Church is at a turning point. Pope Francis' leadership has sparked both admiration and controversy, as he challenges traditional norms while advocating for a more progressive vision of the Church. Some view him as a reformer ushering in much-needed change, while others see his actions as signs of a greater, perhaps even prophetic, shift. As world events continue to unfold, many question what the future holds. Will Pope Francis' efforts lead to a new era of peace and cooperation? Or are we witnessing the prelude to something far beyond human expectations? The answers remain uncertain, but one thing is clear. His influence is shaping the direction of the Church and the world in unprecedented ways. In the coming years, the impact of his decisions will become even more evident. Whether history will remember him as a unifier or a catalyst for something greater, or perhaps even unimaginable, remains to be seen. If you want to stay informed about these crucial topics and uncover the deeper meanings behind world events, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Don't miss out on new insights that could shape your understanding of prophecy, history, and the future. As we stand at the crossroads of history, the choices made today will define the world of tomorrow. Is Pope Francis leading humanity toward unity and peace? Or is he fulfilling ancient prophecies in ways we have yet to comprehend? The signs are unfolding before our eyes. Are you ready to see the truth?